gang violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, in school, in my car, I can still get shot by the police. I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
A 71-year-old grandfather and his 5-year-old grandson have become yet two more victims of gun violence in Philadelphia, all as they were simply sitting in a car at a gas station.
Woo! 71-year-old grandfather, 5-year-old grandson. So I've told you guys before, it doesn't matter. Elders, children, nobody's off limits in the community.
Saturday night, I'm Walter Perez. The big story in Action News is a shooting in Southwest Philadelphia that ended with a grandfather critically wounded tonight. Meanwhile, his 5-year-old grandson is listed in stable condition at CHOP. The gunfire erupting on Passyunk Avenue just before 6 o'clock this evening. Action News reporter Katie Catro found out there was a third person inside that vehicle with the victims. Katie joins us live from police headquarters with details tonight. Katie.
And Walter, police say at this point, the search is still on for the gunman.
There's no words to describe how much of a tragedy that is when that occurs, because this is something that this child is going to have to live with, and the scars coming from this incident.
Police say,
but this happens all the time, and there are so many different children who have to live with these realities, and essentially, a lot of them are living in fear, okay? A lot of them are living in fear because when they go out in public, they don't know if they're going to get hit up that day.
Say a grandfather and a grandson were shot while sitting in this car. Police say it happened just before 6 p.m. at 61st and Passyunk Avenue in Southwest Philadelphia. Officers found this white Nissan riddled with bullets. Police say 3 people were in the car. The 71-year-old grandfather was driving the vehicle when he was shot in the leg. He's at Penn Presbyterian Hospital in extremely critical condition.
A second victim, a 5-year-old male, was also struck and taken by police to Children's Hospital.
And the grandfather, he's just trying to go out on a drive with his grandson. And this is how it ends. These super gremlins are demon time.
The 5-year-old, based on the information that we have thus far, was sitting in a child seat in the back of the vehicle.
The third person in the car returned fire and fled the scene, according to police. Numerous shell casings line 61st and go around.
Wow. So there was a third person in the vehicle who returned fire and fled from the scene. So, I mean, I'm assuming that was his other grandson, and that's who the super gremlins were probably targeting. This is how demonic these super gremlins are. They will see you get in a vehicle with your grandfather and maybe a younger sibling or a younger cousin, and they'll still air the whole vehicle out. These super gremlins are demon time.
Block. Police believe there were 2 shooters. Police say 49 rounds have been counted so far. Bullets are from a high-powered rifle and a handgun. Police say the vehicle was in motion and it appears the vehicle was targeted.
It's always unconscionable when anyone is a victim of gun violence, all the more so when you have an innocent child that obviously through no fault of their own happened to be in a place where they are, they're shot.
And at this point, police say they don't have a motive as they're still looking for the shooters. If you have any information, they could certainly use your help. Reporting live at police headquarters, Katie Catro, for Action News at 10 on PHL 17. Walter.
Yo, what's good, BGZM News 17 family? I'm at the corner of Jesse Jackson and Marcus Garvey, and I got some bad news for you. As you can see, I lost my job. I'm out here living in cardboard boxes outside of boarded up vacant homes. YouTube said I'm done getting money out here in these streets. They even took my funky ass suit. So anything right now would help. So go ahead and hit that Cash App, hit that PayPal, hit that GoFundMe. Hell, cop the merch. or if you want to make the long-term commitment to the Jinquavius Jackson Fund, join the Patreon so that I can continue to put out top-notch content each and every day. Also, check out the Rumble, where there is absolutely no censorship. Link in the description box below.
Hey, yo, ain't that nigga Jinquavius? Yo, I recognize.
No, that's not me no more.
Hey, yo, run your pocket.
Y'all dirty with this shit.
Nigga. Do the opposite of Antonio Brown and take
What
all your
more
shit
do
off.
you want from me?
Were shot during a gun battle. Tonight, that man is in critical condition as police try to figure out what happened. CBS News Philadelphia reporter Ryan Hughes has the latest on the investigation and the impact the city's gun violence is having on children.
More than 50 yellow evidence markers littered the street near 61st and Passyunk Avenue in southwest Philadelphia after dozens of shots were fired outside this Exxon gas station.
We've counted thus far 49 rounds. The vast majority of those are from what appears to be a high-powered rifle.
The shootout began just before 6 Saturday evening in a public place surrounded by businesses. Police believe this white Nissan was targeted. You can see where bullets went through the rear window. We're told someone inside the car returned fire, and then it crashed into a cement barrier blocking the gas pump. Police say a 71-year-old grandfather was shot in his side and was found on the ground outside the car. And his 5-year-old grandson was sitting in this Batman car seat when he was shot in the shoulder.
There's no words to describe how much of a tragedy that is when that occurs, because this is something that this child is going to have to live with, and the scars coming from this incident.
According to the Office of the Comptroller, 94 shooting victims so far this year in the city are younger than 18 years old.
Wow. And these are the numbers that we are not being told or that are being suppressed. 94 of the shooting victims this year in Philly are children. 94. This is the reality that we are living in now as a community, in the community, however you want to call it. These super gremlins are on demon time.
A witness in this case tells CBS News Philadelphia he helped carry the boy to a police cruiser before he was rushed to Children's Hospital. Police are frustrated. Another innocent child was caught in the crossfire in the city's ongoing battle to curb gun violence.
This is just something that is beyond any ability for me to express just how disgusting it is.
At last check, the boy was in stable condition at CHOP. Police say the third person inside that Nissan with the 5-year-old ran away before officers arrived. No arrests have been made in this case, and now police are reviewing surveillance video from that gas station to help piece together what happened. In Spring Garden, Ryan Hughes, CBS News Philadelphia.
Developing right now at 10, a 5-year-old boy and his grandfather shot while sitting inside a car. Police say the gunman firing over 50 shots. Good evening, I'm Dawn Timoney. Dozens of shell casings littering that southwest Philadelphia street.
And they shot the vehicle up over 50 times. Man, I mean, thank God nobody was deleted. It looks like Grandpa and the youngster aren't talking about the third individual who was in the vehicle, but it just begs the question, where are we going with this as a community? It's my question. Where are we going with this?
Let's get out to our Monica Evans, who is live for us tonight at police headquarters. Monica, what are you learning?
Well, John, Philadelphia police say there are a lot of unanswered questions, but they're trying to figure out what led to a 71-year-old man and his 5-year-old grandson shot at a gas station on 61st Street and Passyunk Avenue. Philadelphia police say they believe 3 people were inside this white Altima when it was sprayed with bullets before crashing into a barrier in front of this gas pump. Detectives say a 71-year-old man is in critical condition after being shot in the leg, and his 5-year-old grandson is in stable condition after being shot in the shoulder.
What we believe occurred based on the positioning of the vehicle is the vehicle may have been either traveling on the roadway or possibly pulling into the gas station, maybe trying to get gas, but it appears the vehicle was in motion when the firing began.
Detectives say more than 50 rounds were fired down 61st Street and on Pashock Avenue. Police say the shooters used a high-powered rifle and a handgun. Police say shell casings outside of the Altima appear to have been fired from someone inside that vehicle. Police believe a third person was inside this Nissan, but the whereabouts of that person is unknown. Police say this was not a random act, but a targeted shooting.
It appears based on the number of rounds that found their way into the vehicle that the shooters were aiming at the vehicle. That's how we arrive at that conclusion.
But it doesn't necessarily mean they knew each other. This could have been something that stemmed from road rage or something.
That's correct. We don't know the connection. We don't know the motive. We don't know for what reason the shooters may have been targeting that vehicle. We just don't know.
And here's the thing, that there doesn't need to be a real reason for these super gremlins to do what they do. There really doesn't. But what it sounds like is the third individual in the vehicle was potentially participating in the op culture. He got caught lacking, as they would say, and his ops came and spun the block on him.
At this time, it's too early in the investigation to be able to provide that information.
Detectives are looking at surveillance video in hopes of identifying the shooters and to piece together what led to the shooting. Now, if you have information about this double shooting, you're urged to call the Philadelphia Police Department's tip line. That number, 215-686-TIPS. Reporting live from Philadelphia Police Headquarters, Monica Evans, Fox 29 News.
All right, Monica, thank you. Pretty scary.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot. Please, I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, shout around? It's a Black Gen Z mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get into the video. Wow. Let me put my headphones on. This is gonna be a wild ride. So I hope you guys follow up on in here. We got Captain Freedom in the building. We got Helena J in the building. We got JC Save 777 in the building, Merlin in the building, Krabby Turtle in the building. You already know what time it is. It's demon time, okay? And we are definitely, we have to cover this, guys. We must cover this. We have another child killed in the United States, another black child killed in the United States, and this is a 12-year-old boy. But before I get to that message, let me get into this article I found, because we're going to be focused on Philly today. As you guys know, Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, is one of the most dangerous cities in the United States. Okay? And that's a fact. All right? There's no disputing that. So we're going to get into this article and figure out what are the most dangerous areas in Philadelphia. So the article starts by saying, although Philadelphia is generally considered a safe city, that's cap, some areas have high violent crime rates, particularly in the west, north, and northeast. Among these areas, Nicetown, Tioga, and Hunting Park are the most dangerous neighborhoods in Philadelphia. Keep reading if you're interested in learning more about the city's crime rates in 2023 in the worst areas in Philly. So the question of the article is Philadelphia safe? Philadelphia is known for its relatively safe, mainly if you steer clear of the worst neighborhoods, okay? So, I mean, isn't that an oxymoron? Oh, okay, it's considered safe as long as you're not in the unsafe areas, okay? The rationalization is crazy. The likelihood of experiencing violent crime in Philly is roughly 1 in 250. That's way too high. Way too high, okay? So let's just do some quick math. Because they usually use a stat between 1 and 1,000. But in this case, it would be 4 in 1,000. So for every 1,000 citizens, 4 people will be victimized, most likely by a super gremlin. All right. So let's see. Philadelphia's population in 2023 is all right. All right. So Philadelphia, Pennsylvania has a 1.5 million person population. All right. So they're saying you are out of 250 residents, one of them will be victimized by a crime, and that's too high. And I believe that state or that stat is probably on the low end, to be honest. Probably on the low end. Lower than many other major cities across the United States is what they're claiming. Moreover, the past decade has witnessed a steady decline in the crime rate in Philadelphia with an average decrease of around 3% each year. Sorry, guys, my dog is barking in the background. Give me 1 second. Let me put this man outside. 1 second, guys. I will be right back. What's good, Shadow Realm? It's your boy Jenquavius Jackson, and y'all already know I'm demonetized and shadow banned in this bitch. So if you want to contribute, go to the Cash App, the PayPal, the GoFundMe, or join the Patreon. Also, don't forget to visit the merch store for all your favorite BGZM News 17 gear, including our exclusive Trump is a Blood t-shirt. Go fast before they sell out. They are already flying off the shelves, no cap. And remember, these super gremlins are on demon time. All right. God, it just wouldn't stop barking. Jesus Christ. There's nothing even outside. But anyways, where was I? On the other hand, neighborhoods like Center City and South Philadelphia are considered relatively safe and not as much of a concern for locals or tourists. All right. So Center City and South Philly, 2 parts of the city are safe. And then they list 10 parts of the city that are unsafe. This is absolutely insane. So most dangerous neighborhoods in Philly. Number 1, Nicetown, Tioga neighborhood, or Tioga. With a population of 17,382 and an average annual income of $24,000, Nicetown, Tioga is widely recognized as the most dangerous neighborhood in Philadelphia. Shockingly, the crime rate in this area is 329% higher than the national average, with 2,739 incidents per 1 million inhabitants. In 2021 alone, there were 2,737 incidents of violent crime reported in the neighborhood, making it predominantly unsafe area to reside in. Gun violence is one of the most pressing issues, which continues to pose a significant threat to the community. All right. Now we got Hunting Park, number 2. Situated in North Philadelphia, Hunting Park is widely known for its high crime rate, making it one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in Philadelphia. Although Hunting Park is home to several historical landmarks, including the Clara Barton School, it is plagued by rampant criminal activity with a population of 22,735. Hunting Park has recorded 1,452 crimes per 100,000 individuals, which is 100% higher than the national average. Shockingly, in 2021 alone, The city has saw 1,506 violent crime incidents, mainly robbery and assaults. To make matters worse, gun violence is also a significant issue in Hunting Park. Number 3, coming in at number 3, we have Strawberry Mansion. Okay. Located in North Philly near Fairmont Park, Strawberry Mansion has a reputation as a dangerous neighborhood with a population of 19,690 people. The crime rate in the area is 1,944 per 100,000 inhabitants. Unfortunately, in 2022, crime in the city has ranked as being 162% higher than the national average, and violent crime was 420% higher. As such, incidents of murder and gun violence are alarmingly high in this part of the city. Car theft and carjacking are among the violent crimes, often resulting in dangerous confrontations. Coming in at number 4, Fair Hill. Fair Hill is situated in the northern eastern part of Philadelphia, is known to be one of the most dangerous areas in the city. The crime rate in Fair Hill is as of 2022 stands at 1,545 per 100,000 people, making it a highly unsafe place to live. Furthermore, Fair Hill shares its boundaries with Kensington and West Kensington neighborhoods. Kensington, in particular, is infamous for its rampant drug activity and home to one of the largest open-air drug markets in the United States. Fair Hill has an alarmingly high crime rate of 260% more than a national average, with an even higher violent crime rate of 313% above the national average. As of 2021, there were 1,602 incidents of violent crime reported in the area. Allegheny, right? Allegheny West, situated in northeastern Philadelphia, is home to around 18,676 residents. Unfortunately, that area has been struggling with a lack of investment, adversely impacting its industrial history and economy. In 2022, the crime rate in Allegheny West was recorded at 2,458 per 100,000 inhabitants. Allegheny West reported 1,602 cases of violent crimes in 2021, which is 313% higher than the national average. Number 6, Harrogate, situated close to Allegheny, is home to around 17,456 residents and has a crime rate of 1,703 per 100,000 individuals. Unfortunately, like several other neighborhoods in northeastern Philadelphia, Harrogate faces significant challenges due to drug trafficking. The community also experiences violent crime, including gun violence, murders, robberies, and assaults, which are often directly linked to drug activity within the area. According to recent statistics, Harrogate experienced a staggering 1,764 violent incidents in 2021, a shocking 326% higher than the national average. This makes it clear that there is a dire need for effective measures to address the alarming rate of violent crime in the area. Okay, so next we have Haddington Carroll Park. All right. Haddington Carroll Park in West Philadelphia is undeniably one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in Philadelphia. It has a population of 35,068 and a crime rate of 1,588 per 100,000 residents, making it a high-risk area. Lansdowne Avenue and West Girard Avenue border this working-class neighborhood, which shares a similar culture. Shockingly, in 2022, the overall crime rate in the city was 133% higher than the city's average, highlighting the severity of the situation. Shout out to Alex for the $50 Cash App, okay?
Hold on. Hello? Where we at? Oh, you want to know where I'm at? We outside!
Shout out to Alex. His message was, you need to think about politics, and that's exactly what we are doing. So I thank you, Alex, for the $50 Cash App. That is greatly appreciated and will be donated back into this channel to make sure that we can stay online instead of being shadow banned and censored into oblivion. Okay. So Elmwood Elmwood is considered one of the most dangerous areas in Philadelphia, primarily because of its alarming violent crime rates. The neighborhood in Southwest Philadelphia stretches from Delaware County to the Schuylkill River. With a population of 28,891, the crime rate in Elmwood remains high, with 1,219 crimes permitted per 100,000 residents in 2022. Elmwood, although not ranked as the highest, still faces significant challenges regarding gun violence and homicide. In 2021, the rate of violent crime in Elmwood was 225% higher than the national average, with 1,262 reported incidents. These statistics highlight the ongoing struggle to address and reduce violent crime in the area. Frankfurt, coming in at number 9. Frankfurt, a neighborhood in Northeast Philadelphia, is home to around 39,792 residents and has a crime rate of 1,369 crimes per 100,000 people. Unfortunately, the overall crime rate in this area is 132% higher than the national average. And the violent crime rate is even more alarming, 266% higher than the national average. Shockingly, there have been over 1,400 reported incidents of violent crime in 2021, with assault and robbery being the most common. So let's see. Number 10, North Central Philadelphia. North Central Philadelphia rounds out our list of the most dangerous neighborhoods in Philly, with a population of 21,880 and a crime rate of 1,982 per 100,000 people in 2022. This neighborhood, located near Temple University in the northern part of the city, has garnered a terrible reputation. While the university is generally considered safe, which is not true. We also had a stabbing at Temple University just a few months ago, and then we also had a shooting on campus at Temple University, and that is a direct result of the dangers of the surrounding neighborhood. So the hood ninjas are starting to realize that, oh shoot, we can get on campus and we can, rob the college kids. So that's what's going on Temple's campus. While the university is generally considered safe, which is cap, we already debunked that, it is surrounded by many high crime areas, making North Central Philadelphia a place to exercise caution. The year 2022 witnessed a staggering number of violent crimes in North Central, with over 2,000 incidents reported. Despite this, property crimes remain the more pervasive issue in the neighborhood. According to official reports, North Central recorded nearly 6,450 property crime incidents in the same year. This puts the property crime rate at a staggering 231% higher than the national average. So, guys, in this property crime severely disincentivizes prospective homeowners, investors, or anyone to do any type of developments in that city based off of the high rate of property crime. So, say I'm a landlord and I'm trying to rent out to somebody in the neighborhood of North Central Philadelphia, and I know there's a high rate of property crime, I'm probably not going to want to purchase a property in that area, which takes away tax revenue, because we all know that property tax is a thing. So that takes away tax revenue from the commissioner and the city in general, and it hurts the economy. So crime not only affects the people who live in that area, but it also affects the economy. Conclusion: Philadelphia may have a higher crime rate than the national average, but it is not as unsafe as other major cities in the United States. So this is the comparison fallacy. Well, we are dangerous, but we're not as dangerous as Louisiana per capita. Right? We're not as dangerous as New Orleans, rather, per capita. We're not as dangerous as Atlanta per capita. We're not as dangerous as, San Francisco per capita. We're not as dangerous as LA per capita. We're not as dangerous as Detroit per capita. We're not as dangerous as St. Louis per capita. We're not as dangerous as DC per capita. That's just a cop-out, because you're top 10 most dangerous cities and top 10 murder capitals of the United States. Period. Okay? Period. The west, north, and northeast regions of Philadelphia are known to have higher crime rates, whereas the downtown crime rates, whereas the downtown center city and South Philadelphia areas are considered safer. The opioid epidemic has taken a severe toll on some of the worst neighborhoods in Philadelphia, particularly those in the Northeast. As a result, these areas are plagued with crime that stem from addiction and drug abuse. If you're planning to visit or relocate to Philadelphia, it's crucial to be aware of the safe areas. It's worth noting that neighborhood safety can vary widely, and what might seem secure one day could change rapidly. So it's essential to stay informed and keep a watchful eye. So basically they're saying, okay, it might seem safe one day, but it could change literally overnight. Wow. Got to take a sip for that one. Got to take a sip for that one. And now I'm going to show you the dangers of living in Philadelphia and the dangers of raising your children in Philadelphia, the dangers of, bringing your young sons through their adolescence in this wretched city. It's supposed to be the city of brotherly love, but the only thing that we're getting are brothers killing each other. Okay. And this is undeniable. This is what's happening. So brace yourself for this story, because it is not pretty at all. And nobody is going to address this like your boy Quavius is going to. So buckle up, guys.
Well, we now know the body found in a trash container last week in West Philadelphia was a 12-year-old child. Philadelphia police confirmed it was Hezekiah Bernard. The remains were found at 56th and Arch Streets, and the case has been ruled a homicide, but officials are still looking for answers.
CBS News Philadelphia reporter Joe Holden has the latest from police. Joe.
Siafa and Jessica, the details of this case are just tragic and terrible. Police put pamphlets out with flyers and descriptions of the young 12-year-old trying to figure out his name a week after they discovered his remains. Well, once those pamphlets were distributed, families showed up at homicide here at Philadelphia Police Headquarters looking for answers themselves, and details in this report are hard to listen to.
And my question is, okay, the family, once they put out the flyers, they identified the body, but why not file a missing persons report? Once the young man goes missing, why not file the missing persons report? I mean, it's really wild.
Detectives were back looking around some dumpsters near 56th and Cherry in West Philadelphia. This is the area where sanitation workers discovered a body last Wednesday. At the time, investigators initially told CBS News Philadelphia the body was that of a man in his 20s. But last night, police sources revealed that those human remains were actually a 12-year-old boy named Hezekiah Bernard. Investigators say he had been shot once in the head, his body wrapped in a comforter.
Woo! So, I mean, how demonic, how evil of a super gremlin do you have to be to shoot a 12-year-old boy in the head and wrap him in a comforter? Wicked, evil, demonic. This is happening in the Black community every single day. Every day, okay? And this is why my channel is being stifled, okay? It's important to note that they don't want this information to get out there. They don't want people to hyper-focus on every single individual murder that happens in the Black community like we do, okay? They want you to stay glued to your rap music. They want you to stay glued to your TV, to your phone, looking at the entertainment, looking at the next rap bitch who's twerking, right? Looking at the next fuck nigga who's raising a gun to a camera. That's where they want you at. That's where they want your minds at. Because if you were to focus on this, you would demand change. If you were to see the amount of murders that are going on in the city of Philadelphia, you would demand something be done.
His head in plastic. Police in the last few days passed out flyers with a description of the 12-year-old. Investigators say his family then contacted homicide detectives and made a positive identification. Staff Inspector Ernest Ransom explained a trash truck made a pickup the night before Bernard was discovered.
They take it to their facility at 5,000 block of Haverford. Now, they go back to fill it up with more trash. At the time during the transportation back to that location, the trash container flipped over, and then that's when they discovered the remains and immediately notified the police.
Police say they believe Bernard died between 24 and 36 hours before he was discovered. They didn't say where he was killed. Family of the young man didn't want to talk with us as they were busy planning his final arrangements. But neighbors.
And let's just keep it a bean sack. I see you guys in the chat. Oh, it's not all of Philly. It's not all of Philly. Philadelphia recorded over 500 murders just last year. 500 murders. Okay. They had 499 in 2020, 562 in 2021. And it's only growing. All right. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, they did have an 8% decrease in 2022, but I mean, is 8% really moving the needle that much? Not really.
None of whom would show their face on camera out of fear, were disgusted, some outraged. At the news, a 12-year-old had been murdered and dumped here. Police vowed to find those responsible.
Like any parent, it hurts. It hurts to see a young man or young woman dead on the street at the prime of their life. So that's why it's so important that we bring these kind of deaths to justice.
Well, Staff Inspector Ernest Ransom tells me that they did not obtain any surveillance video in the area of 56th and Cherry showing any movements coming or going.
Shout out to my guy Roderick for the $20 cash app.
Hold on. Hello? Where we at? Oh, you want to know where I'm at? We outside!
Contribution. Everything that is contributed to this channel will be donated back to the channel to improve the quality.
Going from that dumpster located on that property. In the meantime, if you have any information for police, here is their tip line on the screen, 215-686-TIPS. And remember, with any homicide in the city of Philadelphia, with information that leads to an arrest and a conviction, there is a $20,000 reward. For now, we are live outside Philadelphia Police Headquarters. This is Joe Holden, CBS News, Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's just truly sad.
So y'all heard that, community, the Philly community. $20,000 on the line, on the table. Who's going to step up? Who's going to raise their hand and say they know something? Who's going to expose this mess? Who's going to tell us who the super gremlin is who shot this young man? We know y'all know. We know the streets is talking. We know y'all know who the scammers are. We know y'all know who the shooters are. We know y'all know who the plug is. Why can't you tell us who did this? Okay. Far too long, the Black community has given an oath of silence when it comes to the murders of our own people, by our own people. Okay? It doesn't make sense.
And horrific. Thank you so much, Joe.
So it's y'all's chance to speak up. Okay? It's y'all's chance to say something. Here it is right now. On this channel, either way, you know, you can hit me in the private chat. Let me know what's good. But if you guys aren't willing to say anything about it, and I'm not even from Philly, and I'm giving more of a damn than you guys, then what does that say? What does that say for all the guys who are going to watch this back who are from Philly?
We learned some truly horrific new details from police today about the discovery of a child's body in a trash can in West Philadelphia. A housing authority sanitation worker found that body last week. The victim had been shot in the head. It took several days to identify the victim as a 12-year-old boy. Action News reporter Maggie Kant live at police headquarters today with the update from investigators. Just an awful situation. Maggie.
Brian, as we hear continuing details, it just continues to get worse and worse, unfortunately. We're now learning from investigators they believe the boy was dead for 1 to 2 days before that sanitation worker made that disturbing discovery.
And we know how important the first 48 in a homicide, the first 48 hours in a homicide are. We know how important it is. So within that 48-hour span, not one Black person came and spoke up to expose the criminality of these super gremlins on Demon Time.
Police officers that we spoke to say this is the kind of case that hits especially close to home. Police say on Wednesday, August 23rd, a housing authority sanitation worker picked up a trash can near the dumpsters of the Haddington homes at 5500 Cherry Street. After placing the trash can into their garbage truck, the sanitation worker made a gruesome discovery along.
And this child was missing for 48 hours, and the parents didn't put in a missing persons report. I mean, what's mom and dad doing? Right? Sisters, come get your kids.
On the route, when the trash can overturned and human remains were found. It would be 7 days before police were able to identify who the victim was. Found shot in the head, wrapped in plastic and a blanket. After homicide detectives canvassed the neighborhood, handing out flyers describing the victim's clothing, family of 12-year-old Hezekiah Bernard came forward and made the positive ID.
Again, Mr. Bernard was 12 years old. He was brutally killed and placed in a trash can. The focus of this investigation is the swift apprehension of those involved in this senseless death.
Well, good luck with that. Good luck with that. How is that supposed to happen if the community is not participating? Shout out to Johnny Reb. He sent the $5 Rumble rant. He says, Gen Z, did you see that NYC will be using drones to monitor Sun Labor Day BBQ gatherings or barbecue gatherings? Although I don't know what monitoring will do. All it takes is one bitch ass ninja comment and the block will be shot up.
Hold on. Hello? Where we at? Oh, you want to know where I'm at? We outside!
You know what, Johnny Reb, you're absolutely right. I mean, all it takes is what the hell you say, bitch ass nigga? I mean, and that's it. That's it. The block is shot up. We saw that block party on 4th of July get shot up in Philly. I mean, you had 4 people shot. We covered that over here. So, I mean, it's wicked.
You hate to say internalized, but we understand and we feel like there's some sense of justice that need to be served.
No shit.
And we push hard to find these individuals involved in this killing.
Sources say at one point this boy was under the care of DHS, but was not under the agency's care at the time of his death.
So it looks like the child was in and out of the foster care system. I mean, if you look at his teeth, they look unkept. It almost looked like the kid was a meth head at 12, the way his teeth are looking. So obviously he had a most likely let's say a frictional relationship with his family members, maybe an estranged relationship. It definitely couldn't have been a good one. It doesn't look like they were providing much for the young man, and maybe he was a street cat. Maybe he was a young man who lived on the street, house to house, bopped from house to house. I mean, these things do happen, and they're very sad.
They say that there was no missing child report made for this child. We're live at police headquarters. Maggie Kent, Channel 6, Action News. Brian.
So far, nobody from the community is speaking up. And this one is going to be hard to solve. If they don't have no cameras, if they don't have any type of evidence pertaining to this murder, I mean, really, what do we have at this point? I know the police have more than what they're giving us, but We got a young man shot in the head, 12-year-old boy shot in the head, dumped in a dumpster, 48 hours, body rotting, already starting to decompose. Probably had animals get to him a little bit, you feel me? Respectfully, but animals were most likely getting to the body, vermin getting to the body to muddy the waters when it comes to evidence even more. Okay. So, I mean, are we going to find other DNA on him? And then who's to say that DNA found on him didn't come from the dumpster? I mean, this thing is, it's tough. It's tough at this point. It's like, you can't rely on DNA evidence. You have to rely on, witnesses, maybe physical evidence that you guys have, as far as like cameras, and anecdotal, as far as I'm concerned. So this it isn't going to be like a straightaway case. Shout out to Akan for the $5 Cash App. He says, not all heroes wear capes. Thank you, bro.
Oh, say less.
And I appreciate that, man. I try and cover as many stories as I can. I used to put out 2 videos a day, you already know, when I was still monetized. But now I can only put out 1 financially because it costs to edit these videos. But I do appreciate you guys' support. And I plan on going live more to expose what is going on in the community with these murders. I mean, this is the second time I'm reporting on a child being killed this week. Yesterday, I did a story on a 6-month-old child being killed in Atlanta. Now we're reporting on a 12-year-old boy. These super gremlins are on demon time.
Tragic story now of that young boy, 12 years old, found dead inside a garbage can. Hezekiah Bernard is his name. Here's Shawnette Wilson.
I'm told that Hezekiah was a phenomenal dancer. He was sharp and excited to be part of a mentorship program that would give him opportunities. And tonight, police are looking for whoever took that all away.
Wow. So, I mean, this is... and I don't want to harp too much on the family, but it seems like everybody show up for the balloon release, but when the little nigga is killed, where y'all at? When the little nigga gets shot and everybody knows who did it, everybody knows who done it. Y'all know who he was beefing with on Facebook. Y'all know who he was going back and forth with in them Instagram messages. Y'all was a part of them group chats where y'all were saying where and when y'all was going to meet up to fight. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck. Okay? Let's keep it a bean sack in this bitch. So now that he's dead and it's an opportunity to throw some balloons in the air and pollute the earth, okay? We want to talk about climate change. We want to talk about pollution and your carbon impact. Let's talk about these balloon releases. Everybody's here to show up. Everybody's here to, we miss you. We wish it wouldn't have happened. I'm not saying they're insincere. But I'm saying, where were y'all at when this young man was killed? Where were y'all at the 48 hours when he was missing? Because, I mean, we're tired of these balloon releases. The Black community's tired of these balloon releases. And then the other communities are tired of paying for the cleanup when these balloons drift off into the local bodies of water and pollute the water. Now you got the fish sucking up rubber. Okay. Now you got the birds when these balloons get stuck in the trees. Now they're, dying because they're suffocating on the rubber from the balloons. All right. We want to talk about your ecological impact. Here it is right here. Okay. So, from my perspective, the balloon releases just ain't gonna cut it.
A balloon release in West Philly this evening in memory of 12-year-old Hezekiah Bernard, known to friends as Hezzy.
Look, see, most of them balloons ain't even got enough helium in them. They gonna go up, shit, probably not even 5,000 feet. And they coming right back down.
He gone, but he ain't gonna never be forgotten. 16-year-old Jashir Montgomery was among hundreds who came out.
So, I mean,
Will never be forgotten.
you see the dramatic hug here, and like I said, I'm not saying they're insincere, but if you know who did it, would you say something? And then we also know the age-old saying, you voted for this. And they did. Every single person in this crowd voted for this.
16-year-old Jashir Montgomery was among hundreds who came out after learning that an unidentified body found last week.
And now it turns into a photo shoot. You see in the corner here, these ninjas are gonna post on Instagram, RIP to homie. He was a real nigga. Now it just turns into a photo op. See, in my opinion, there shouldn't be cameras. It should be only a group of people who personally knew this young man. See, a lot of these niggas who showed up to this shit probably bullied the young nigga. Let's keep it a buck. A lot of them probably made fun of him. Yo, ugly ass T, bro. Yo, dirty ass T. I'm just telling you how these little niggas are. And now they're here for the photo op just so they can say, yeah, man, I had a fallen soldier. You know, gone but not forgotten.
Was their friend.
I thought he just wasn't answering the phone, but while they're figuring out who's dead, they put him in a dumpster. Like, it was out of pocket, and it really hurt me.
Philadelphia.
It was out of pocket. Like I said, not saying that, you know, the sentiments of these individuals in the community are insincere, but to describe the murder of a 12-year-old boy as out of pocket, not just the murder, but the discarding of his body like he was yesterday's garbage, is out of pocket. If that's out of pocket, the fuck is in pocket?
Put him in a dumpster. Like, it was out of pocket, and it really hurt me.
Philadelphia police during a press conference today gave a tragic timeline of events, beginning August 22nd, Tuesday of last week, when a housing authority sanitation worker picked up a plastic trash container on the 5500 block of Cherry Street. Investigators say the next day, when the same worker took the truck back out to gather more trash, the container overturned, revealing the body inside, with a plastic wrap around the head and comforter over it. August 24th, the victim's death was ruled a homicide, an autopsy showing he'd been shot in the head.
The estimated time of death of Mr. Bernard was between the hours of 24 and 36 hours prior to being discovered on August.
And, you know, honestly, to address him as Mr. Bernard, in my opinion, takes away the fact that he was not a mister. This was a young man. He wasn't even a teenager yet. He was 12 years old. 12 years old. A couple years removed from elementary school. To refer to, and I know the officer was just trying to be respectful, but this ain't no Mr. Bernard. This is a child.
August the 23rd.
Police say flyers were posted with a description of the victim, and August 29th, family identified the child. Pastor Aaron Campbell is with Level Up Philly and says Hezekiah had been with the mentorship organization for a little over a year.
So well-mannered, bright eyes. Just when you look inside his eyes, you just saw just a hunger to see the world.
He had the kids gather tonight at the Level Up building for the balloon release and a safe place to express their grief.
Hezzy, he was my little brother. I cried a lot. I cried a lot because I looked at him as like my own blood.
And let me tell you guys, this memorial had a high likelihood of being shot up. Let's not forget that. The Super Gremlins will spin the block, run it back, and attempt to delete the individuals who mourn this young man. Let's not discount the brutality of these Super Gremlins on Demon Time.
He's so young, just why? That's my question.
Police tell us that Hezekiah was in DHS care. They're looking for any information that can help solve his murder. Shawnette Wilson, Fox 29 News.
This is what we got going on in the community, y'all. This is us. This is a personification of what's going on. Okay? The apathy, the lack of outspokenness for this issue that is plaguing the Black community. I mean, you cannot make this shit up. And I've tried to, well, you know, maybe this happened, or maybe he was involved in some this, or maybe this happened. There's no rationalization for this, man. 12 years old. 12 years old. This is what y'all niggas on? To take the life of a 12-year-old boy. Okay? We're in a different time now where there is no village raising the child. There is no real community, because these same people who showed up to this young man's memorial would be the same people who would say no snitching. Okay? Let's keep it a buck. And he'd been someone who was just trying to make a name for themselves and say, yeah, I caught a body. You know how prideful these Black men are in the inner cities. Unfortunately, they're prideful about taking life. Okay? They take pride in destroying the lives of others. It's not to say this is every nigga, but this is a culture that is permeating in the community. And when you speak about this issue, they're going to call you a coon. They're going to call you a sellout. They're going to tell you that you don't know what you're talking about. Okay? That you're a bad person, that you hate yourself. You know how many, oh, you must hate yourself comments that I get. Hate myself. I love myself. Are you kidding me? But what I don't love are these individuals who continue to justify the violence in our communities. I just can't get behind it.
At New at 5, we are learning more about the 12-year-old boy whose body was found in a trash container. Philadelphia police say Hezekiah Bernard was shot in the head, but are still trying to figure out where, why, and who did it.
Meantime, the friends he made and the mentor he looked to at a local youth center are grieving after the loss of yet another child. NBC 10's Francis Wang has the story.
So we've got to give them the safe space.
Here at Level Up in West Philadelphia, 12-year-old Hezekiah Bernard, or
I know this nigga didn't just say safe space. Safe space? Really? We got to give them the safe space. I'm telling you right now, there is no safe space that is going to save these young brothers from these super gremlins on Demon Time.
Hezi, as he was called, found a place of belonging.
He had eyes that just were full of just wonder, beauty, and you could just see that he just wanted to find his place in the world.
Pastor Aaron Campbell, who hosts church services and youth programs here for hundreds of kids every week, is sadly too familiar with helping them navigate a life plagued by gun violence.
I keep gauze in our kitchen, and it's normal. And this is so sad.
In just the last year and a half, 20 of the kids he mentored have been shot. 5.
Wow. Just let that sink in. In the last 5 years, this pastor has seen 20 of the young children that he's mentored murdered. Not passed away from an ailment or, a disability or some virus or disease. Murdered. That's 4 a year. My question to him is, how is that safe space working out for you, buddy?
20 of the kids he mentored have been shot, 5 of them killed. One memorialized on this wall. The latest, Hezekiah remembered Thursday afternoon with a balloon release.
Our kids all have gun violence PTSD.
Underparenting, poverty, social media. The list of layers adding to the problem is long. Many of the kids he works with no longer feels they have a village who cares.
They have the same hopes and dreams as kids in Lower Merion and Bluebell. But what happens when hopes and dreams are just perpetually crushed and they have been let down and they know that people don't even want to deal with them?
It's an ongoing cycle and a dangerous one, but not without hope.
The solution is found in grassroots mentoring with partnerships. We make it cool to show your vulnerable side. And we're just seeing so much beauty, the masks come down, the stone faces turn into smiles. We have 19-year-olds who play hide and seek in our building because they never got to be kids, so just the safe space is everything. We need safe spaces.
In West Philadelphia, Frances Wang, NBC 10 News.
Wow. So he had the mentorship, he had the male leadership. So what's the excuse now? It's my question. What are we going to blame for this? Okay. Because we all know in the community there's an immediate instinct to displace the blame, to remove the onus from the real issue. Okay. So he, even though he may not have had that strong family unit, he did have the mentorship. He did have the people around him. Okay. And I mean, it's very obviously these topics are difficult to discuss because when we are trying to be realistic, people are going to call you out for it. People are going to say, hey, you must not like this about yourself. You must not like that about yourself. No, I don't like the behavior of these super gremlins. It has nothing to do with me or myself. Okay. But somehow the blame is going to be put on some imaginary white supremacist who is puppeteering these super gremlins to do the crimes that they're committing. Okay. That's what's going on right now. So we're going to get briefed by Philadelphia Police Chief or a representative, and we're going to see what information they have and what they're willing to give to the public. And then we will conclude the stream.
All right, good afternoon. First and foremost, any questions pertaining to Mr. Hezekiah Bernard while he was under the care of DHS should be referred to DHS.
Yeah, and I don't understand why they keep saying Hezekiah. It's clearly Hezekiah. It's clearly Hezekiah. I don't know why they keep Hezekiah. What the hell is it? What the fuck?
I will only be speaking about the homicide investigation that is ongoing. So now I'm going to give you some details. On August 22nd, while on the 5500 block of Cherry Street at approximately 8 a.m., a housing authority sanitation worker removed a plastic trash container and placed that container inside a PHA sanitation truck. The sanitation truck container was driven to PHA facility located at 5000 block of Haverford Avenue, where it was housed overnight. On August the 23rd, that same PHA employee drove the sanitation truck with the container back to the 5500 block of Cherry Street to gather more trash. During the drive, the container overturned and the remains of a male were observed inside that container with a plastic wrap around the head with a comforter over him. Police and medical personnel were contacted and arrived on scene and officially pronounced the male dead. On August 24th, an autopsy was conducted by personnel from the medical examiner's office, and it was discovered that the decedent suffered from a gunshot wound to the right side of the head. The decedent at the time was wearing a white shirt, black shorts, white socks, and black and white sneakers. Several attempts were made to identify the decedent by the Philadelphia Department of Records and Identification Unit, along with the medical examiner's office. That yielded negative results. On August the 29th, homicide detectives distributed flyers in the area where the decedent was found. Those flyers depicted what the decedent was wearing at the time. On August the 29th at approximately 4 p.m., family members of the decedent were made aware of the information that was distributed by homicide detectives. Then they contacted the medical examiner's office. The decedent, through photographs which were provided by the medical examiner's office, was emailed to the family members. And the members identified the decedent once again as Mr. Hezekiah Bernard, a 12-year-old black male. The estimated time of death of Mr. Bernard was between the hours of 24 and 36 hours, prior to being discovered on August the 23rd. We need the help of the public to identify the offenders in this investigation. Again, Mr. Bernard was 12 years old. He was brutally killed and placed in a trash can. The focus of this investigation is the swift apprehension of those involved in this senseless death. Have any questions?
How many cents was he shot near the place where his body was discovered?
Right now, we don't know where he was shot at. All we know is where we discovered the body.
You said he had been dead for 24 to 36 hours before his remains were discovered.
That is correct. That's based on the medical examiner.
Was he reported missing for any time before that he was killed or before his body was found?
Well, that's part of the investigation, which is obviously ongoing.
Inspector, is he from that neighborhood in West Philadelphia?
From the information I gather, that's going to be unknown at this. I would just say it's an investigation still ongoing.
And you've spoken to his biological family?
The investigators have.
And but he was not in the care of his biological family at the time?
That I cannot discuss. Again, those kind of questions should be directed to DHS.
I think what really strikes everyone that from in the neighborhood, everyone that's heard about it, even when we're walking towards this press conference, is the brutality and the horrific. What does that do for your detectives, your investigators, and how does that motivate and drive you to find out what's happening?
Well, we still do our investigations as we normally do with any unfortunate homicide, but it hits close to home because most of us have children. You hate to say internalize it, but we understand and we feel like there's some sense of justice that need to be served, and we push hard to find these individuals involved in this killing.
Inspector, what's that with the case where it stands right now? Is there any video that has come into discovery that helps you track this young man's movements in and around the neighborhood? What kinds of things might you have that even if the department might be putting that out at this point? Anything that we can sort of ascertain where the investigation is?
But what I can say is this: we are constantly doing this investigation. It's still ongoing. Any video that we have that we can put out there, we'll definitely send it to Public Affairs and it will be distributed to you.
Is movement so anything on?
No, we have none of that stuff.
Is there anything you can share about what you believe or what you gathered about prior to the discovery of his body? About his life or anything in the days?
There's nothing I can disclose in terms of his life because we really don't know much about his life. What we do know is we found a young man in a trash container, and our job now is to investigate thoroughly and find out what exactly happened.
I'm sorry, could you just run through? You said the dumpster was taken by someone, like a trash collector, and then was taken back to the facility, and that's when it was discovered the remains?
So what happens with DHS, from my understanding, they collect the trash at that particular facility. They take it to their facility at 5,000 block of Haverford. Now they go back to fill it up with more trash. At the time during the transportation back to that location, the trash container flipped over, and then that's when they discovered the remains and immediately notified the police.
Again, the condition of the remains was a plastic bag or
It was a plastic type of wrap around his head.
Mm.
but he was shot a single time in the head.
That's what we got from the medical examiners.
Wow. Oh man. So there you have it. This is what's going on. And this is not the only child that was shot in Philly, okay? Recently. We've got a 3-year-old boy who was shot as well.
Authorities. 30-year-old Shantae Odom from Philadelphia is now facing charges. Investigators say on Tuesday, Odom was visiting the boy's father on Phillips Avenue, and during that visit, police say the boy found a gun in her purse and shot himself in the head.
Damn.
He's still in the hospital. Odom is charged with unlawful possession of a weapon and third-degree endangering the welfare of a child.
Damn. So, I mean, that one is plain and simple. Okay. So you guys just don't think this is a one-off situation? We got a store clerk as well who was injured in a shootout in Philadelphia.
A store clerk was shot in an ambush in North Philadelphia. Police say the shooter stood in line behind customers waiting to open fire until he reached the counter. Action News reporter Catherine Scott has the latest from police on this investigation.
Police say the victim is a cashier inside this store and that this entire incident was caught on camera. A 34-year-old man seriously injured last night in North Philadelphia after a gunman opened fire on the victim inside Carolina Market.
We know that this 34-year-old shooting victim is an employee of this variety store.
The 911 calls came in around 7:30 last evening. Gunshots on West Lehigh Avenue by 27th. Police say there were around 10 other employees and customers inside the store when a man opened fire.
You can clearly see the shooter walk into the store, stand in line. There was at least one person in front of him. And when he approached the counter, he pulled a gun and fired at least 5 shots into the cashier booth.
Arriving officers found the injured cashier and rushed him to the hospital.
He was in the cashier's booth. He was bleeding from multiple gunshot wounds to his neck, his chest, his side, and his abdomen.
Witnesses say the shooter was last seen running south
Goddamn
on
porn bombers are after you too, Z.
to be in his 30s or 40s.
You said the what?
So the goddamn porn bombers are after you too.
Oh, wow.
He's 5'11" with a stocky build. Police say he was wearing a green hooded sweatshirt, dark pants, and a colorful baseball cap turned backwards.
The shooter is known to come into this variety store on a regular basis. So we're pretty confident they're going to be able to identify who this shooter is.
Police don't know the motive. So far, police have not released any images of the gunman. In North Philadelphia, Catherine Scott, Channel 6 Action News.
No images, no description.
It's par for the course.
Yeah. So what do you think about the young man who was shot to death, Hot Black Desiato? You know, what was your reaction when you heard the story?
You know, I feel bad. Obviously, but it's not a shocking reaction, or it's not a shocking situation. You know, to anybody who was actually paying attention to what's going on out here.
Yeah,
it's exactly like this in pretty much every major city in the United States.
Yeah, you're right, and this is actively what's happening in Home Depot in the Bay Area. I mean, you got these super gremlins pulling up in Pooh Shiesty mask, just taking whatever they want.
I had somebody ask me the other day what the difference between a Pooh Shiesty and a ski mask was, and I'm like, the fucking intent.
Right.
And the gremlin behind the mask. These dudes ain't hitting the slopes.
Yeah, I mean that's a fact, and it's just like, how can this type of stuff persist and nobody is really saying anything about it? If you notice here, and I'll try and pause it right here. You see this sister right here. 100% she voted for this. 100% she believes.
Yeah, don't be shocked, sister.
Right. 100% she believes these super gremlins are looting to feed their families and bring breast milk to their children.
Yeah, there's a bunch of good fathers out here.
Yeah, they're just robbing baby formula and diapers. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. And we know for a fact she voted for this. So now she's shocked. Oh, Lord, what's going on? Like, don't make that face, honey, because this is exactly what you asked for.
Goddamn right.
And this is happening all over the United States. What's up, product of Cook County? What say you about the 12-year-old boy who was shot and killed?
I mean, I kind of came a little late into it. I don't know if they're still looking for the guy, but personally, as punishment, I think they should hang him from a tree.
Yeah. They have no suspects so far, so they're definitely looking for the guy out here.
Yeah, they used to put these kind of people in the gallows.
I mean, in a trash bag, man, like that's death penalty. That's death penalty. That's firing squad type of punishment.
Yeah, they threw him in the dumpster. But the director of the ATF, he actually has something to say about the crime in Philly, and he might give us a useful insight to this issue and maybe even some solutions. So
my gripe with most people nowadays is I don't think anyone legitimately does research on the people they want to bring in for some of these positions. I mean, most people, the research I see most people do is hop on mainstream news, which is turn on the TV, hop on MSNBC or WGN, like what we got over here or whatever, and that's kind of it. No one actually looks at the background of these guys or see where they
Yeah.
put their money into or
Everybody's
whatever.
ultra low information.
Everyone's like, oh, well, it said this and this on the news. That should be good. No, that's not how this works. They're hiding a lot of the shit they do from you.
Yeah. Yep.
But
That's
what
damn
can you
right.
do? What can you do with people? I mean, majority of people are lazy when it comes to this. And then they want to wonder why all this shit happens or why certain bills get passed.
Right. Exactly.
Director of the ATF today, Steve Dettelbach.
Dealing firearms.
There's a lot to tackle. First up, the exponential rise in illegal ghost or privately manufactured guns.
Right here in Philadelphia, just this year in 2023, well over 300, almost 400 privately made firearms have been recovered.
Evidenced by the crimes we cover, shooters are unloading more ammunition than ever. Illegal bump stocks or gun auto switches are becoming an issue.
In a matter of seconds, they can change a legal semi-automatic weapon into an illegal machine gun. This is a problem in Philadelphia. This is not some hypothetical problem. In Philadelphia alone,
Yeah, everywhere else too.
this year alone, over 100 of these devices have been recovered by the police associated with violent acts.
The ATF is only as strong as its partnerships in law enforcement. It's teamed up with the Philadelphia police to catch and federally prosecute carjackers.
That carjacking task force is now a national model for how we can do better at trying to focus on a particular crime in a particular place in partnership.
Now, the ATF, of course, is interested in finding those people who are using the guns to carry out crime, but they also are proactive in trying to stop those illegal sales before they begin. You can catch our entire interview with ATF Director Dettelbach on 6ABC streaming apps. You can scroll down to look for more videos and watch everything that he had to say. Of course, it's also posted on our website, 6abc.com. We're live in Center City tonight. Maggie Kent, Channel 6, Action News. Rick, Shari.
All right, Maggie, thank you.
Yeah, so I mean, it's obvious that we got all these ghost guns and whatnot. Okay, we got some more people joining the stream.
I'll give some insight about those ghost guns because I've actually
Go
known
ahead.
people that have got them. So, just so people know, I don't know. The best you can do is lock people up immediately for having these and give them a hard time because these are coming from the dark web, the deep web, Tor. All right, you go on there, you find a site, a well-trusted site, hop on, and you don't buy the actual gun most of the time. You buy parts and you put it together. There's manuals that come with these, or you 3D print them. So I just want people to know a lot of times, again, that's why I don't I don't care about these super gremlins. You could lock them up for the next 50 years and have them do free labor in the prisons. I don't care. They're not dumb. They can go. They know how to maneuver on these things. They're not stupid. They're great when it comes to crime.
Though I understand what you're saying about the ghost guns, the issue there is you can literally go to Home Depot or Menards or Lowe's and you can buy everything you need to buy to put a gun together.
Oh yeah, 100%. And
You know, so
you can
you
3D print
literally.
a lot of these parts. It's not hard to do this.
I'm just saying that my only point is it's going to be hard to get rid of people making guns that have no serial numbers just because they're so easy to manufacture in your own garage.
And even if you were to take some things away from Home Depot to make it harder to do it, dude, then everyone's just going to start shipping parts in.
But here's the thing: it's not. It goes back to the issue. It's not the gun that's the issue. It's
people.
the super gremlins who are wielding these weapons. That's the main issue.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, and to your point, I mean, you don't see people banning cars because of DUIs and people getting killed by drunk drivers. You know, so
right.
I mean, that's kind of where we, it's pretty sad that people that catch a DUI will catch more time than someone who goes out and shoots someone nowadays.
Exactly.
Anybody catch why they're charging carjackers in Philadelphia federally? Because they're not charging them locally. That's
Right.
why.
Well, that's because of the racism narrative that's been pushed. A lot of these police departments are afraid to charge anybody that's not white at this point because they're afraid of the backlash they may get from it.
Yeah, and they're pushing this narrative and also pushing legislation. I think the city council just passed recently, I think in 2021, a law that basically restricted police officers from pulling suspicious vehicles over, if they had cracked headlights or cracked tail lights or, any even they can drive around with late registration, no license plate. I mean, all these things don't warrant probable cause to pull somebody over in Philadelphia anymore.
Well, I thought you should at least pull them over and at least let them know that their taillight's out.
Yeah, I mean,
that'd be the courteous thing to do.
Exactly, but I mean, they just don't want.
They won't
the
even
police.
view that as courteous, though. That's going to be you might get them on flight from there just on that.
Yeah, it's going to be an issue for sure.
Something gets me about the ATF is they'll go and they'll charge some gun loving person for something that they've written into the rules as to a crime, and then they won't go and charge the people with switches federally. It's like go after the people that are actually causing the gun violence, not the people that are just gun nuts.
Right. So let's kind of break down what the ATF has to say about this issue.
Steve Dettelbach to talk about everything from ghost guns to gun trafficking and, of course, all the hard work that the ATF is doing.
So, Director Dettelbach, can you talk to us about NIBIN and the technology, how it's used in order to ID crime guns and enter it into a national database?
So what we're really trying to do when we talk about violent crime is to identify the actual trigger pullers, the shooters who are out there terrorizing our communities. And what we do is we're able to use technology to almost get a fingerprint of a crime gun. We do that by taking the expanded cartridge casing and putting it into a NIBIN machine, National Integrated Ballistic Information Network. It really allows us to run almost a criminal history of that gun, to link together one murder with another shooting, to make it so that we can cross county lines or even state lines like the criminals do, so that we can identify them and working very closely with police right here in Philadelphia, catch them and take them out of the community.
In
Tool
terms
mark
of
analysis
ghost
is
guns,
bullshit.
What are we seeing with this technology? Our understanding is that buying an individual piece of a gun online is not illegal, but obviously once you compile it together to an untraceable gun, this is really when it becomes a problem. What are you seeing in terms of ghost guns being used to carry out crime, and what can we do to tamper that?
Privately made firearms, also known as ghost guns, they shoot like traditional firearms, they wound like traditional firearms, and as we know, just from before July 4th here in Philadelphia, they can kill, just like traditional firearms. What makes them called ghost guns is that they're untraceable. They have no serial number. And there's almost never a background check run on the person who buys a ghost gun. Congress said long ago that people who have things that are, quote, readily convertible into being firearms, if you sell those to people and that's your business, they got to run background checks. You got to have a license. We at ATF are doing everything we can, including clarifying and promulgating a rule to make it clear that people who are engaged in the business of selling firearms, whether they're traditional firearms or things that are readily convertible to being firearms, all apply by the same rules. That allows police to run traces, to catch criminals, and it allows us to run background checks and prevent crimes.
So as we mentioned, on July 3rd, we had a mass shooting. 5 people were killed. The shooter in that case was using a ghost gun. The city of Philadelphia has elected to sue 2 ghost gun manufacturers, but it's not the first type of lawsuit that we.
So suing the ghost gun manufacturers, I mean, that's like suing Kia and Hyundai for them getting carjacked. I mean, what do you think about what the ATF is saying about ghost guns and the accessibility and how it's impacting the street violence in the community?
They also include like Saturday night specials that are really old and that kind of thing. They include anything with serial numbers filed off in ghost guns to pump up the numbers to make it seem like it's even more. It's ridiculous.
Regardless of what it is, right? It's like the people that are using them, out of all the people that are purchasing, manufacturing guns, ghost guns, whatever, right? It's only the super gremlins that are going out there and spinning the block on the ops and killing the 12-year-old every fucking day of the week. And that's what's driving up the numbers as far as kids being the number one group killed by guns in the United States or whatever the fuck they're saying now, right? I mean, but
I would believe them more if when they arrest these guys that do the mass shootings, they charge them federally because they're using illegal guns.
When he said
But
that
they
we're
don't
going
do
after
that.
the guys that do this, we're looking to find that's cap because they're not doing that shit. They don't believe that.
So what I heard this man say, now mind you, I don't trust this man after hearing him speak at the latest Senate hearings when they were talking to him about the ATF and what them making up their own rules for one. I heard him basically tell us all that even though we know the demographic of people that are committing a lot of these crimes that we're talking about and that you're interviewing me over, and we're using that to make rules up to try and make this stuff illegal, we're using them rules to actually go after legal gun owners and arrest them.
Right.
For the
It
things that
falls
other
under
people
the blanket conveniently.
That's what I heard him say, because if you listen to, he said, we have the technology to take these rounds and stuff and trace them over state lines and county lines like criminals do. So in essence, he's sitting and saying that they will sit and tie, if they can find a gun or a bullet that matches another bullet out of the same gun that's tied to other murders. Now someone is going to be tied to these murders, whether or not they did it or not.
Firearm tool mark examination and bullet matching is pseudoscience. Yes, they can say, oh, it's this type of caliber of gun. It may be come out of this type of gun, but gun manufacturers are so common. Unless there's a serious flaw in the gun manufacturing, they can't tie it to an individual gun. They fail in blind tests every time that they're given blind tests. But it's accepted so much in the community that court just kind of accepts it. No, you can't tell. You could tell it came out of maybe a high point because of manufacturing things of a high point, but you can't say that it goes directly from this gun unless there's some flaw in the gun, because it changes even as you shoot it because the heat expands it and all that kind of stuff. So the matches are literally fake.
Yeah, and I just
anyone who knows what's going on can blow it apart, but a lot of people don't.
Right. And I just want to kind of break this down for people in the chat who may be confused about what we're talking about. We're talking about ballistics testing and matching firearms with, the casing and whatnot. And basically what they're saying is the ballistics testing that you see on CSI Miami and, Law and Order and all this stuff, it is a pseudoscience. It's not an exact match. You can't necessarily tell that, my Glock 40 is different from product of Cook County's Glock 40 or or Johnny Reb's 9mm is different from my 9mm if they have the same make and model. So basically, by the ATF heavily relying on this, what we understand to be a pseudoscience with this ballistics matching, it can lead to inaccurate results and targeting people who may not have been the perpetrators of a crime or any crime that they're investigating, that's specific to a particular area. So
right. The only way it'd be specific is, like the dude said, is if there was a flaw in the rifling in the barrel when it came from the manufacturer, or possibly if you may have caused a flaw in the rifling in your own barrel via cleaning or getting around stuck and trying to unstuck the projectile, because that happens too. Now you have made the rifling in your gun unique to everyone else's.
Right. So I actually want to cover this story here, and this actually is relevant to a series that I've been doing on super gremlins robbing people for their dogs, with their dogs, while they're walking their dogs. So let's get into it.
Now the details here at 5:30. Philadelphia police are searching for a group who violently attacked a military veteran. The mugging left him shaken and seriously injured. He was ambushed while walking his dog near his Brewerytown home. Action News reporter John Paul now looking to the details here and spoke with this victim. John.
Yeah, and he is pretty shaken up by all this. It happened just over my shoulder on Saturday night. As you mentioned, the military veteran was simply out walking his dog when he was attacked and robbed. Scott Harris served overseas in Iraq and as an advisor in Ukraine, but he didn't get these wounds from an active war zone. He got them in Brewerytown on.
Woo! Now look what these super gremlins did to his face.
They make it more dangerous than a lot of war zones here.
Right. Randomly jumped a veteran who served this country, fought for this country, and these super gremlins got the best of him.
Nah, man, him being in their neighborhood was an act of white supremacy.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Saturday night.
It was kind of ironic. I spent a year in a war zone and 2 years in a country that's not so safe. And then I come here and get attacked in my own neighborhood, a block from my house.
These are the last moments he remembers. You see him taking his dog Nora for a walk near 30th Street. He can't remember the beating that happened next because he was left with a brain injury.
Next thing you know, I'm in the emergency room getting stitches. The surgeon, he said he stopped counting at 100 on the stitches.
The Navy veteran was left with broken teeth, a concussion, and cuts all over his face. His wallet and credit cards were stolen, and so was a special memento.
The only thing I cared about was my mother passed, so I had her driver's license in my wallet because I always wanted to keep her close.
He and his partner Joseph believe he was attacked by a group of people throwing a party in a kid's park. They had already called police about the gathering, but no one responded. They also believe 3 women at that party took pity on him, helping to carry him home.
When he got back.
Wow. So, I mean, everybody's participating in the party. They beat the shit out of the guy, and then a few bitches just was like, "Oh,
those are sisters."
I don't know.
Looks like that one, like on his arm, might be.
Yeah, possibly.
Looks like the bottom left too.
Yeah, they look pretty overweight. I'm not gonna lie. So, just assume.
I was waiting for him to say the sisters robbed him.
Right.
That he was bleeding. His shirt was soaked. His pants were soaked, and I didn't know if he was stabbed or what.
In surveillance, you see an ambulance take him away. He would spend 3 days in the hospital. But he's not letting the attack change who he is. But he will approach the streets of his own neighborhood a little differently.
But you can't let...
And how do you think he's going to approach the streets of his own neighborhood differently? I mean, he's going to have to arm himself. That's the only way.
That's what I did after I got robbed. I lived in a town and it was a bad neighborhood, and I got robbed by 6 brothers in the middle of the night. Had a home invasion, and it didn't cause me to hate all black people. I hate them 6, but it did cause me. I went out and I learned how to defend myself after that.
Hold on. You're saying 6 super gremlins ran up in your crib?
Yes. And robbed me and my wife and my dad at gunpoint in the middle of the night at 1 a.m. in the morning.
Damn. Where was this?
Lima, Ohio.
Anywhere. They're the primary invaders of homes in the United States by far.
Holy shit! I mean, six is crazy.
Yes, there was 3 of them that actually stayed in my room with the gun on me the whole time, me and my wife, while the other 3 were cleaning out the house. And technically there were 7 because there was another guy that was outside in a van.
Wow. I'm sorry to hear that, man. On behalf of the community, I apologize.
It's not your fault, you know. And see, that's the thing is, you know, there some people would take that situation, they'd use it as a reason to hate all black people. But, you know, I realize that these are individuals.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it did wake me up to the fact that you still have to be aware, even in your own neighborhood, your own community, and your own home. You know, you have to be able, willing, and ready to defend yourself at all costs, because you never know when someone's going to come through a window and decide that tonight's your night.
Yep, you're right.
Things like this change you or make you not trust people anymore. You just
Hold up. I mean, I heard a pause. Hold on.
Things like this change you or make you not trust people anymore.
I mean, look at how his lip quivered when he said not trust people.
You can't let things like this change you or make you not trust people anymore. You just, you know, just
interesting.
Maybe you need to be a little more vigilant.
Damn, they fucked him up.
He is trying
Not
to
relax.
attitude about all this. I mentioned the dog, Nora, the dog he was walking that night. She's okay, although he says that the dog is acting a little bit different. Police are involved in all this, but so far,
Barking at some people more often for some reason.
John Paul, Channel 6 Action. Rick?
Yeah.
My question I have is, why doesn't the media always report this as a hate crime?
Yeah, for sure. They definitely, yeah. That's a huge.
You can't commit hate crimes against whites, according to the media.
Right.
It's not a hate crime when they do it.
Yeah, it's a huge double standard, and it's not right, man. I mean, if we want an equal distribution of the law, we're gonna have to start saying, hey, you know, there are some super gremlins in this country who hate white people to their core, and it's so real. I mean, I see it online all the time. I see it in my comment section all the time.
It's very evident, especially if you go on like Twitter, Instagram, all these like big media outlets.
They're not shy
You'll see
about
a lot
it,
of
yeah.
people just trashing on white people, just saying abort white babies, this and that. Like, man, you see some crazy shit.
Bro, you ought to go to TikTok and listen to these TikTok lives.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you're right.
Just senseless violence, all of this happening during a pop-up party. Philadelphia police say these types of gatherings have been happening all summer long. Essentially, young people post about a gathering on social media and then just show up. Now, sometimes these get out of hand, even violent, as we saw this weekend with a Navy veteran getting brutally beaten.
We got back around 11:30, and that's usually when we walk our dogs and go to bed.
It was a typical Saturday night for Scott Harris. The 62-year-old was walking his dog outside of his home on 30th and Jefferson when something happened that he never would have expected.
That night on Saturday, there was a huge party going on over here, a little bit out of control, but nothing terribly concerning to me.
So what did I tell you guys about the community and these large gatherings? It's got to stop. There has to be at least, I'll say, at least a 3 to 4 year hiatus on large gatherings. I know that's not realistic because we got Labor Day coming up, but we need a universal halt on all large gatherings in the community.
Yeah, Sun parties may be the single largest cause of mass shootings in the United States.
Well, let me ask you, gentlemen that are on the panel, what is your prediction on how many barbecues are going to get shot up this weekend?
Oh man, I mean every major Democratic city is going to get shot up.
Yeah, probably one in each one at least.
A little more than
Do you think that every state, probably one city in every state, it's fair to say, is going to get shot up?
Oh yeah.
Everybody with a team in the league.
Yeah. True. Anybody with a football or basketball team, it's going down.
Next thing you know, I'm in the emergency room getting stitches.
At some point, Harris blacked out. He felt all of the pain, but has no memory. He later learned that he was assaulted, his wallet taken. It didn't even have any money.
Sadly, The only thing I
Man.
really cared about in that wallet was my mother's driver's license. She passed about 10 years ago. And that's kind of how I kept her close. And now I don't even have that.
Harris is a Navy veteran who spent years in Iraq and Ukraine. Never did he think his own home is where he would suffer such a brutal beating.
Without any significant incidents.
And Paula, I see you say, why can't I support? It's because I am demonetized and shadow banned on YouTube. So there is no super chat. What you can do is hit the PayPal, hit the Cash App, hit the GoFundMe, or you can buy the merch. As you guys know, I did put out the Trump is a Blood t-shirt. And if you want to see the ad that advertises my Trump is a Blood t-shirt, I'll just play it right quick for you guys. If you want to contribute to the channel, hit the PayPal, hit the Cash App, hit the GoFundMe, or cop the merch. But guys, I mean, it's pivotal for me to get this information out of here, and I need you guys' support to do so. So make sure you support the channel by, subscribing to the Patreon or hitting the Cash App, hitting the PayPal, or, doing whatever you can do, hitting the like button, commenting on the video after it ends. All of these things help with the message getting out there. What's good, Shadow Realm? It's your boy Jenquavius Jackson, and y'all already know I'm demonetized and shadow banned in this bitch. So if you want to contribute, go to the Cash App, the PayPal, the GoFundMe, or join the Patreon. Also, don't forget to visit the merch store for all your favorite BGZM News 17 gear, including our exclusive Trump is a Blood t-shirt. Go fast before they sell out. They are already flying off the shelves, no cap. And remember, these super gremlins are on demon time.
And then I come here, walking my dog right by my house and get attacked like this. I just don't see the sense in it.
Perhaps the one glimmer of humanity Harris does see in all of this is the people who did help. Surveillance video showing a group of women getting him back home.
Thank God, there are good people. And maybe they're mixed up with some people that aren't so nice. And they just saw a human being in need and brought me back safely. I don't know what had happened.
Harris not going to change him. He still wants to live in this neighborhood and in this city, but he does say he will be on guard even more now, even when he's just out in the neighborhood walking his dog. And Jackie Tracy, as you saw that image of him from the emergency room, so bloody and graphic, we had to blur it. It's going to be a long recovery for a man who served our country.
And I mean, he said he still wants to live in the neighborhood. I guess these gliders, they just don't learn. They just don't learn. I mean, his case in particular is all about proximity. So
they're not making the connection.
Well, a lot of them want to let somebody run them out of their home too, though, is what it is.
Yeah, that is true.
Well, Ike was talking last night about how, oh man, they decided they love living next to a park. That was a mistake.
Yeah.
And the search is on for this man wanted in a violent attack in Fairmount. The victim told police the man attacked her from behind, punched her, and started poking her in the eyes.
Damn.
Here's our Shawnette Wilson with more.
Residents tell me they've had robberies and cars stolen, but nothing this violent on their block.
It's very concerning that something like that happened in our neighborhood.
Surveillance video provided by police shows a man they say is a suspect in the attack of a woman while walking in Fairmount. Amanda Carishan lives on the block where it happened.
It's pretty scary. It's, I try to hide my bag or even
That's
just your
racist.
car. It's scary getting out of your car, just walking around late at night.
Walk
luckily I
across
have,
the street
two
next.
Male neighbors who offer to walk with me and things like that.
Police say it happened Monday, August 14th, just before 9 o'clock at night. Investigators say the woman was walking here on the 700 block of North Uber Street when the suspect came from behind, punched her several times, and poked her in the eye. That is until the victim gave him her cell phone.
We've lived here for about 3 years now, and we haven't had any issues like that.
Leanna Liss was out walking her dogs, Monty and Roscoe, this evening. She loves the neighborhood and says she's raising a family here, but doesn't walk around at night like she used to.
Yeah, and that's not the best idea to raise a family in Philly with all that's going on right now.
Definitely don't go jogging.
Yeah, or walk your dog, for that matter, according to the last story.
When I walk the dogs at night, I'm very quick outside, back in.
David Perrier says crime happening everywhere is a result of not enough love and a lot of hate. He says it has to stop.
So he's saying the result of the crime is not enough love and a lot of hate. Where is the hate and the lack of love coming from? Does anybody have a guess?
Clan.
You can't say that. That's racist.
I mean, and he probably
his mama,
right? Like, I mean, what is this guy gonna say? Who does he think the hate and the lack of love is coming from?
There is a result of not enough love and a lot of hate. He says it
Proud
has
Boys.
to stop.
It's when we see injustice, we got to speak on it, instead of just letting it go. So, it's a shame that has happened, but then again, it's not going to be the first and it's not going to be the last. But then again, we got to, step up and do something about it.
Video of the
So his take is, you ain't the only one who getting finesse, bitch. Suck it up, basically. That's what it sounds like to me.
Appears to be from
Oh,
inside
we know it won't be the last.
Right.
convenience store. Police point out this distinct graphic tee he's wearing.
So he's a Rick and Morty fan. So, okay.
They didn't say if the victim suffered any physical injuries, especially from being poked in the eye.
Yeah, that seems very strange and like he could escalate or something like that.
There are a few doorbell cameras on homes on the street. Residents tell me they will check to see if there's anything captured that can help with the investigation. Shawnette Wilson, Fox 29 News.
Oh, man. I mean, so much is going on in Philly. I've got a few more stories here to show you guys, and we'll get to the conclusion. And then I'll kind of let you guys kind of spitball some potential solutions. As you guys know, I am pushing the No Solutions, the KNOW Solutions, hashtag No Solutions movement. I do have t-shirts being printed as we speak. So we are pushing the No Solution. So at the end of every stream, every live stream that I do want to hear some potential and viable solutions for these issues. I know they're pretty obvious, but I do want to get you guys' take. So hang on in there. We got a few more stories to cover of, super gremlins acting out in Philadelphia.
We're hearing from the family of a mother of 5 shot to death almost a week ago in Southwest Philly. Good evening, I'm Sheba Russell. Police did arrest someone in the death of Ikea Welsh, but the family says they have little information and are struggling on how to move forward.
Hold on.
15-year-old son was also wounded in.
Go ahead.
Did someone really name their daughter after a furniture store?
Yeah, it's a damn shame.
Gotta get creative with the names.
That's rather passe for son names, honestly.
At least they didn't name her Ikea Isha.
Yeah, I can Ikea.
Right.
This shooting, how's he doing?
Sheba, he was shot in the arm, according to the family, and unfortunately had to go back to the hospital today for fears he had an infection. So closure is just one part of this. The family is struggling to pay for funeral arrangements and figure out next steps for her traumatized children.
And here's the thing. There needs to be a mandatory life insurance policy taken out on every single Black person in the community. From this point on, everybody needs to have life insurance because these super gremlins are on demon time.
Insurance companies could go bankrupt within a week.
Yeah, you're not
Not a
wrong.
winning proposition for them.
You're not wrong. They have to put out a clause. Okay, we don't cover gun violence or any homicides. They have to put a clause in there so they don't have to pay out.
Roxanne Hughes says she's grieving and at a loss of what to do. She identified the 37-year-old woman killed in a triple shooting in Southwest Philadelphia Monday evening as her daughter, Ikea Welsh, a single mother to 5 boys ages 10 to 18. The 15-year-old wounded Ikea's son. He is expected to physically recover, according to the family.
Ikea, she was a good person, a good mom. I loved her to death.
So my question is, were they targeting one of her sons? Could they have been targeting the son and she just been a byproduct of that? We know that we live in an op culture. We know that super gremlins are willing to crash out over any disagreement. Could this have been a result of one of her children participating in op culture? I mean, because chest tattoos on a woman is it's a obvious indicator of demon time activities. It's an obvious indicator of ratchetness in the household. So
5 kids,
Was she?
5 to 18 is bad sign too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got a broad range of children that we all know there ain't no daddy, and we all know she can't keep
That
up
ain't
with
the
all
same
of them.
man.
Yeah. And definitely not the same man. So it's like, could this have been a result of one of, her children participating in op culture?
It's very likely.
Mm.
I wouldn't put it past
And
it.
she was happy-go-lucky. She always did to help the family out. And she just loved her kids. I want to keep them together if I can.
And I do want to also ask a question. If this was a result of the op culture, do you think the child who could have potentially been, and most likely one of the teenagers, could have potentially been targeted in the shooting, do you think he has any remorse? And do you think he's going to spin for his mom? Spin the block, that is.
You may be smoking a pack on him.
Yeah.
Highly doubtful.
But not spending and not tossing in sleep at night for sure.
The 50-50.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll agree with that. It depends on how close he was to her.
Yeah, and how active he was in the streets. He might spin the block for sure.
Because we're going to need each other.
Philadelphia police say the shooting happened just after 5 in the evening on the 6200 block of Glenmore Avenue, not far from where Ikea lived, according to her family. She died at the hospital. They say she was on her way home from her job at the time as a home health aide with her son. Her family says the 27-year-old woman that was also shot and survived is a friend of hers.
It's unbearable. You can't even, process it. Ironically, she's been living there for less than a year. She moved, to try to change neighborhoods to give her sons a better opportunity. And, when this happened. So, nowhere safe anymore.
Philadelphia police say they did make an arrest and recover a weapon, but the family says they do not know who is in custody or why this happened.
Mom needs closure. She needs to know what happened to her child.
Their biggest hurdle now, next steps. Ikea's mom wants to give her daughter a proper funeral and relocate her grandchildren and doesn't know where to begin. She created a GoFundMe to start.
I don't have no funeral money.
So obviously they don't have any funeral money. They have created a GoFundMe. If you guys want to donate to the GoFundMe instead of me, I totally support it. But I mean, it's almost like every single person in the community who is murdered doesn't have money for the funeral arrangements, can't get their family members to come together and muster up funds for a proper burial and sending off of their loved ones. But when them new Jordans come out, they're able to cop them, right? When that new weave, when that new set of lashes come out, when them nails, get low, they're willing to put the bread down.
Yeah, I mean, why do it yourself when you can ask other people,
Yeah, that is a good point.
Excuse me. No money to bury her, so I'm just trying to get help for that. And I also want to relocate her sons because going back to their house is not an option. I got to get school clothes, and school is like just around the corner. I'm just at a financial room now at this point.
Yeah, I feel bad for the grandmama because now she gotta raise the kids, and y'all know how bad them grand ninjas are. Like, I mean, how is she
all
gonna
over that?
Right? How is she gonna discipline them kids if one or two of them are already participating in the op culture?
Grandma's house is the next block to be spun on, and maybe the vigil that they hold after this.
Yeah, I mean, and it's so unfortunate, but it's not hard to make that leap that grandma could end up getting involved in this feud or beef or series of retaliation shootings that maybe the child was involved in, and maybe the mom was involved in some street stuff. She looked pretty hard-nosed. We don't know, but it just seems like the grandma is not going to be able to take care of all them kids by herself.
Ikea Wash's mother is also a caretaker for her two brothers. She has a lot on her plate, as you can see. We have a link to the GoFundMe on fox29.com. There's also a contact form on there to reach the family if you are an organization that can connect them with resources. And if you have additional information on the shooting, call police. Sheba.
Hopefully the community steps up to help here, Kelly, because this
Community, not community, honey.
family is just overwhelmed with so much right now while also trying to grieve. Kelly, thank you.
All right. So our final story is of a mass shooting that happened in Philly that didn't get any coverage, even though the Jacksonville shooting got all this coverage. You have 2 people dead, 3 injured, 130 shots fired in Philadelphia. And I mean, nobody is speaking up about that. Okay. The fact that 5 people were hit and 130 shots were fired off is crazy. It's crazy.
And representative of the kind of atrocity that happens on a regular basis that goes unreported on, really, or at least, unremarked.
Right. That is a 3.8% hit rate. The accuracy is deplorable.
Right. Imagine all the stray bullets that hit houses and cars and
businesses.
Right. I mean, all the potential innocent bystanders that could have got hit.
Yep. You're right.
Bullet holes riddle cars, homes, and the streets of South Philadelphia. 2 separate shooting scenes totaling more than 130 shots fired. Good evening, everyone. I'm Chris O'Connell.
And I'm Dawn Timoney. 2 people are dead and 3 others hurt. And as our Marcus Espinoza reports, the shootings erupted just hours apart.
I was like, oh my gosh, they shooting.
2 Philadelphia neighborhoods rocked by gun violence on Thursday as more than 130 shots rang out, killing 2 and injuring 3 others. The first shooting erupting in this Queen Village neighborhood at 3rd and Montrose just before 5:30.
It's a pretty large scene. We have over 75 spent shell casings.
God
So
damn.
we know over 75 shots were fired by what appears to be at least 2 separate caliber weapons.
A 19-year-old was shot 5 times and killed in that hail of gunfire.
God damn. They shot this 19-year-old boy 5 times. These super gremlins are on demon time.
A second teenager, also 19, arrived at a local hospital with a single gunshot wound, but is in stable condition. In Ring doorbell footage obtained by Fox 29, you can see the aftermath as neighbors rush and try to help the person shot. A neighbor who didn't want
It doesn't look like they were really trying to help, honestly.
That would be uncharacteristic.
The moment it happened, everyone in her house got on the floor and took cover from the bullets.
It's really terrifying, and they always say bullets have no names on it, and I'm thankful. I thank God that it didn't hit our house.
Several homes and cars were damaged by the excessive shooting, and workers were busy repairing homes affected. Neighbors who have lived here for more than 2 decades say they are now terrified to even go about their daily lives.
It's scary, and then now I'm kind of scared and worried when I come home from work.
Just a few hours later, at the corner of 7th and Daly Streets in South Philadelphia, 3 men were shot as more than 60 gunshots were fired here, killing 38-year-old Charles Fickling.
It appears by the location of where these shell casings are located, there may have been some sort of shootout between 1 or more people or groups of people.
Surveillance video obtained by Fox 29 shows at 8:50 Thursday night around the corner of 7th and Daly, an SUV pull up, stop in the street, and several people run out. Witnesses tell us seconds later the gunfire started. You then see a group run back into the SUV and drive off. Philadelphia police are investigating whether these 2 shootings.
Nobody else is doing this shit.
Way, but have not drawn that.
Like this.
Yeah.
And this makes up the vast, more than 95% of all mass shootings in the United States. It's not like, white dudes are out there blamming up schools every day of the week. No, this is the vast majority of the gun violence in the United States. It's so far weighted in favor of some people,
Yeah, I mean, if you guys go back, just go back into my archives and search Black men are the face of mass shootings in America. We broke down every mass shooting case up until, I think I did this stream in March or May. We did every single mass shooting case, and over 90% of those mass shootings came straight from the community.
I was looking at mass shooting archive the other night on OC, and of the 515 mass shootings, as 4 more people or whatever it is shot this year, 315 are gunmen unknown. Who do you think that is?
Exactly.
And that's before you get to like, Duran and Quantavious doing the shooting. Like, it's easily more than 90%.
Yeah, and it's the most slept on story in this country, and the narratives are being spun, and it's just wild. It's wild how they got everybody fooled, man.
And not to rant, but like every time I hear some person say, talk some slick shit about how white people be killing children, I'm like, no, every group of men combined in this country couldn't even come fucking close to the amount of children that black men kill every year.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I just did a story on the 6-month-old who was shot and killed in a retaliation shooting in on Campbellton Road in Atlanta. So, yeah, Charles Watson Jr.
I'll be honest, the one that gets me the most, because I have a lot of discussions on panels with Sun people, and the one that kills me the most is when I hear that Sun people are the most kind and understanding and forgiving people in America.
Oh, for sure.
And that seems to be something that's parroted all throughout Black YouTube.
Yeah, it is. It is for sure. I just kind of chuckle at things like that because I'm like, man, you obviously haven't seen my channel. And here's the thing about my channel. I could never, ever run out of content. Even if I did 5 stories a day, 10 stories a day, I couldn't get it all.
Right.
Shit, I mean, just to show how kind they say they are. There was on Ox, I think it was last night or 2 nights ago. He was covering a story about this white lady robbed right outside of her car, pregnant by the way, and shot. So she had a miscarriage just because of that. 2 people walk across, seeing the whole thing go on. Look away, walk away. Goes inside of the actual gas station. Lies on the floor. No one's calling police. No one's doing anything. Like, the most you have to do is call the police and let them know. I'm at this gas station. There's this pregnant white lady shot in the stomach, bleeding out in front of everybody. No one bats an eye.
Yeah,
Bro,
that's their melanated compassion on display there.
I got a video that I found where there was this white lady that was going on a walk with her kid in a stroller, and you see this black lady come running up behind her, grab her by her freaking ponytail, and slam her from behind down on the ground.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's freaking insane.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys remember that story I did on the security guard who was shot in on Cleveland Road in Atlanta, and he was shot point blank range in the back of the head. And what did the Super Gremlins do? They didn't go help him. They didn't try to apply pressure to the wound. They went in his pockets. It was all on camera, and they robbed the man dead.
Just animal shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the worst one I've seen so far though was I was reading. It was during the lockdowns. It was up by Akron, Ohio. There was a family that was sitting and watching TV, and some brother kicked in their front door and was robbing them for their stimulus check. He shot the 2 guys that were sitting on the couch in front of the door, and this lady, she had her. He was a 5-year-old kid laying on her lap. She begged this guy not to shoot him, and that guy walked up and shot her son point blank range right in the head, right in front of her, while he was sleeping on her lap.
Insane.
Conclusion yet. Connected or not, Philadelphia continues to be plagued by the epidemic of gun violence, and residents are at a loss.
We just never experienced anything like that.
At police headquarters, Marcus Espinoza, Fox 29 News.
All right. Now we're just going to get this final take on this mass shooting from Fox, Philadelphia, and then we'll get you guys' thoughts on some potential solutions. Keep the solutions brief, though, 30 to 60 seconds, and then we'll wrap up.
Another violent night in Philadelphia. But listen to this. Over 130 shots fired in 2 separate deadly shootings. Shayna, I don't know where you want to start.
Right, because it's a lot to get to. We have, as you mentioned, a double shooting and a triple shooting, both of them turning deadly within 3 hours of each other. So let's start with the first scene. I'll bring you right to that one. This is Southwest Philadelphia, 3rd Street and Montrose, I should say. This was the scene just after 5:30 in the evening when officers were called to that corner about a call that came in about shots fired. When they got there, they found one victim, a 19-year-old, shot 3 times in the shoulder, hit in his back, and then in his leg. He was rushed to a nearby hospital. A second 19-year-old victim suffering from a gunshot wound to the leg arrived by private car to the hospital, reported stable at this time, but that first victim I mentioned died from his injuries after being shot multiple times throughout his body. This scene quickly turning deadly. 75 spent shell casings on the corner of 3rd and Montrose. Multiple cars and homes also struck along that block, with luckily no injuries or fatalities reported from the neighbors. Now let me bring you to the next scene just about 2.5 hours later. This is 7th and Daly Streets. This scene, a triple shooting, 60 shots fired in the South Philadelphia area. 1 man dead, 2 others injured after police say a shootout broke out between 2 groups last night. This is about 9 p.m. All 3 victims were rushed to Jefferson Hospital. A 37-year-old man was pronounced dead after being hit multiple times. 2 other victims stable at this hour.
Police took all 3 of these shooting victims to Jefferson Hospital. The 37-year-old male, who was shot multiple times in the chest, abdomen, and torso, he was pronounced dead at Jefferson Hospital at 9:08 p.m. So this is a triple shooting. One of the victims, age 37, was pronounced dead at Jefferson Hospital. The other 2 victims, ages 21 and 22, they are in stable condition at Jefferson Hospital.
And shout out to Johnny Reb with the $2 Rumble ramp. He says, "Sisters, come get your kids."
Oh, say less.
So the information we just got from Chief Inspector Scott Small indicates that the 37-year-old victim, the one that died in that shooting, they believe that he may have been the intended target. Now police are tasked with figuring out if the 3 victims in that particular case were related or knew each other in some way. Guys.
Oh, God.
Wow. So you guys heard it there. And you heard it here first. You're not going to get content like this anywhere else but on this channel. So in conclusion, let's get to some of you guys' solutions. And guys, if you like this stream, make sure you hit the Cash App, hit the PayPal, hit the Super Trap. Or I don't have Super Trap anymore, but hit the Cash App, hit the PayPal, hit the GoFundMe. And then you can also cop the merch. That's value for value there. And cop the Trump is the Blood t-shirt, guys. They are really selling out fast. And I'm going to definitely get more colors for you as well. So what are some potential solutions? And we'll start with Hot Black Desiato. You have 30 to 60 seconds.
I'll keep it brief and just say that no public meetings, more than 3 people for Sun people specifically enforced, and a greater use of the Sun labor force that is in prison to do public works projects and that kind of thing, and free up more berths for the additional load.
Yeah, get them ninjas off their iPads and off the iPhones and have them laying brick or doing something.
Once the gremlins get under control, then we can let some people start gathering in public again. All right, I'm not like trying to say for all time, but come on, we got to fucking get control of the shit.
Yeah, we need a 5-year plan and a 5-year hiatus on all large gatherings.
No homecoming parties.
No homecoming, no birthday, no block parties, no twerk parties, all that. It's got to go. All right, so I appreciate that your take, Hot Black Desiato. Product of Cook County, 30 seconds to 30 to 60 seconds for your solutions.
The mammies are gonna have to step up and start ratting out on their kids, bro.
Yeah.
That's pretty
true.
much the only thing. A lot of the people in these communities, they don't say shit, even though they know who it is.
Yeah.
So that no snitching culture is gonna have to go.
True. Angry Snowman.
Somehow we're going to have to do away with this single mother culture in the community. That's the biggest issue right there. And I think the best way to do that is to stop incentivizing them financially, get rid of all the government aid, the subsidies, all the programs, and force them to have to be with the fathers of their children and have decent homes again. That way they can actually rebuild the community. That's the only way you're going to fix it.
Yeah, I like that. And Johnny Reb, you have the final word.
Well, you're going to have to either lock them up and not let them out ever, or you're going to have to make prison so horrible where they have to work, forced to work like they used to be long ago, or they don't, or they're going to continue to do it because there's no consequences. They don't like I said, if they think they can only do instant consequences, you know, things 3 or 4 years down the line, locked up, they don't care.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people in the community look at a prison sentence as a badge of honor. So, I mean, is it really a consequence if you're not going in there and doing some very difficult manual and physical labor?
No, the only thing that is going to get them is if it is not fun. If it is extremely difficult, extremely trying, that's the only thing that's going to make them think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely agree. Well, I appreciate all of you guys' takes on these topics. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the conclusion, but I appreciate you guys for joining the stream.
Word, man. Love what you do. Thanks.
Yes, sir. Peace. Y'all have a good night and have a good Labor Day as well. Or is it Memorial Day? Whichever one.
It's Labor
Day. Okay, Labor Day. Cool. So, I mean, guys, it's absolutely ridiculous what's going on in the community. We have a 12-year-old boy who was killed in Philadelphia. We've got mass shootings, 130 spent shell casings found on the scene of the crime. We've got veterans being jumped while walking their dogs. We've got women being attacked, poked in the eyes, assaulted. And the community is silent about it. But we are not going to be silenced any longer. Although we are censored, although we are shadow banned, although we are blacklisted on YouTube, demonetized, that is not going to stop our efforts to shine a light on this very disgusting culture that we have allowed to fester for decades upon decades without addressing the real issues and the quote unquote root causes that are not the mainstream root causes. We have our own root causes over here. And that root cause is that these super gremlins are on demon time. So you already know what it is, man. Appreciate you guys. But it is your boy, Black Gen Z Mindset, BGZM News 17. And we are going to go ahead and send it to Jinquavius to take us away, guys. Please, please, please leave a comment immediately after this stream. We have 47 or 49 people watching this live stream. Leave a comment immediately after the stream. Show your support, show your love, because that is going to boost us in the algorithm. Like the video, share it to your friends and family, and just make sure this message is out here, especially if you got family in Philly. I just listed the top 10 most dangerous areas in Philly. So you might want to go shoot that article to your loved ones if they are in the Philadelphia area. So you already know what it is. Have a good night. I might actually go live again tomorrow. I'm going to start going live a lot more. So stay tuned for that. And hey, we're going to send it to Jinquavius, guys. Peace.
I'm here on the corner of MLK and Medgar Evers, and it's a very tranquil scene compared to just a couple hours ago where a drive-by shooting just took place. Excuse me, I'm getting live updates as we speak. I've just been updated to the amount of casualties from this drive-by shooting, and I'm getting reports that 2 people were actually declared deceased and 27 others were shot and injured but are in stable condition. And although we must pray for the families of the fallen, we must also praise God for the aim of the super gremlin. If you want to know more about the victims of this crime, make sure you add BGZM News 17 on Patreon at www.patreon.com/blackgenzmindset. Also, don't forget to like the video, share the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and comment on the video to continue the discussion on how we can find solutions to all this gun violence in the streets. For more hard-hitting news coverage from the community, by the community, I'm Jenquavius Jackson, here live, reporting from Atlanta, Georgia, BGZM News 17.
And cut.
All right, dog. Let's get the out of here before these niggas come back.
Whoa. Yo.
Whoa.
Ain't that nigga J?
Nah, that ain't me. That ain't me.
He just went live
That
with
ain't
that
me.
funky ass suit
That's
on.
that nigga. That's not me.
Hey, get that nigga.
Jenquavius Jackson, here live, reporting from Atlanta, Georgia. Pray for me.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's your boy Jenquavius Jackson, and y'all already know I'm demonetized and shadow banned in this bitch. So if you want to contribute, go to the Cash App, the PayPal, the GoFundMe, or join the Patreon. Also, don't forget to visit the merch store for all your favorite BGZM News 17 gear, including our exclusive Trump is a Blood t-shirt. Go fast before they sell out. They are already flying off the shelves, no cap. And remember, these super gremlins are on demon time.
Gang violence and other kind of violence. So it is what it is.